Hey guys, Anna here from Garden Love. We came here to the workshop with Steve Liz, as I mentioned earlier on this week. We had a great turnout. He had some great giveaways, as you guys can see. He had rosemary, strawberries, and some avocado trees. And I have a surprise for you guys, for all of you guys that leave comments and my family in the gardening community. I have a subscriber, Jump Off. He came here to visit us and he came to take the workshop. What did you think about the workshop?
It was great. Very well performed and knowledge just dripping
right?
all over the place.
It's so much fun. I really do try to record everything that Steve says, but sometimes it gets hard because it's just so long and so much information. I try to do my best, and we're gonna upload the video with everything he mentioned in here, but hopefully next time we can see more of you guys here, so that way you guys can get the knowledge firsthand and you guys can get more than what I can upload. Alright guys, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm excited to upload the video. So bye-bye.
Bye.
For sanitation, Pacoima Beautiful now for about 1.5 years doing these lectures. This is our first one down here, and I'm very pleased. Thank you guys for coming out. Hopefully you'll enjoy yourselves. Hopefully you'll come back, because every month there'll be something different. Next month, what are we doing next month? Does anybody know?
Vegetable harvesting, canning, and tomato seeds.
Tomato tasting. How does that sound? How many different varieties of tomatoes are there?
Over 100.
100? 10,000 plus. Okay, and that's not an exaggeration. I stop at about 10,000, okay? I've probably grown 400 or 500 different varieties. Right now I have 28 varieties growing at school. I'm not going to bring all 10,000, don't worry. I'll bring probably 10 or 15, but you guys are going to get a lot of different varieties. I'm going to pass these around and then we can start chopping them up. Here's some of the varieties I just picked really quickly when I came in. Okay, this is a black crim. I'm going to just kind of show you a few of them. I have Cherokee purple in here. Black crim, very similar. My favorite right here, green zebra. So if you wanted to kind of take a look, and then when they come back, we'll chop up and have a little bit. That came from the garden at Selmore. The heat didn't kill me too much, did it? A lot of mushy ones, but I guess if I was doing canning or spaghetti, it would be okay. But,
Is it a huge difference in taste?
oh yeah. Now those are all heirloom tomatoes, and you got to understand with heirlooms, you're not going to get as many tomatoes on the plant. But yeah, you get the different tastes like you wouldn't believe. They're really good. So that's tomatoes. I don't want to get too involved in that. Again, my cards, I'm a phone call away, I'm a text away, I'm a email away, I'm a Facebook away, and now I'm a YouTube. On the, whatever you guys want, please ask, okay? You want to come visit me? Anytime, right? Am I on open house?
Always.
Best time to come visit me is when I'm teaching. Then you can see organized chaos. 200 teenagers trying to figure out how to plant a garden. Pretty cool. Anyhow, do we have any questions? Who has a good gardening question that they have no idea what to do, how to do it, that they want to ask me? Yay! Yes.
It's a great way to like get started. Like you have a piece of, you have a place where you want to start your garden. What's like the first thing to like start getting your soil ready?
Okay, she had a good question. I'm going to try to repeat the question and bring it over here because I know the sound quality is kind of like later. I have a big voice, loud. Everybody can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I've had a lot of practice. Okay, she wanted to know how to start. How to start a garden. Okay, real quick, without getting into too many details, do you want to do a raised bed or do you want to put it in the ground?
Great.
Okay, why do you want to do a raised bed?
Well, it's already
have it.
It's already great.
Oh, cool. Raised bed gardens and the ground gardens, you're still going to grow the same product, okay? There is no difference. Raised bed are aesthetically fun. They look good. You can control your soil. Also, maneuverability is really cool with it. But if you want to get a better product out of a raised bed or in the ground, as long as you prep your soil, you're going to be fine. Yours, you have anything in there?
There was like a plant. We took it out.
Okay, so is there any dirt or anything?
Yeah, it's dirt.
It's dirt now, or is it soil?
It's what's been in the yard.
Okay, so you probably want to prep your soil. Where do you live?
Granada Hill.
Oh, good. Come up to Lopez. Whereabouts in Granada Hill?
By the golf course.
Okay, that's the worst soil in the world.
Great.
Sorry. I grew up there, so I know. No wood up there. horrible decomposed granite. But if you've already got some existing soil, come up and get the premium soil mix from Lopez. You're not very far. You're probably 10 minutes from there. You just take the 118 down till it ends. That's pretty much your logistics. Mix that 50-50 with your soil. Add some of your compost if you're composting. If not, you should be okay with this. All right. Now, should we go ahead and plant a vegetable garden right now?
No.
No, it's too hot. You're kind of in limbo right now. It's the end of your summer vegetables, and it's not quite the beginning of your winter vegetables. There's 2 dates that I always like to tell people. March 15th to do your summer vegetables, and that's date pretty much you're not going to have a freeze. Okay? And then October 15th to start your winter vegetables. But be very careful about October 15th because we do tend to have a little bit of heat spells towards the end of October. So if you plant your garden on October 15th and a week later it gets 110, and yes it can, you're going to be in trouble. So kind of watch your weather patterns. I would start prepping your soil, getting it ready now, get your compost, get everything ready, and just plan on planting in the fall. Now, you could plant pumpkins. Right now, if you guys want pumpkins for Halloween, should be in the ground. July 1st is the date. You can plant any of your herbs right now. Cucumbers, watermelons, things like that. But for the most part, I'm done with my summer vegetables. It's over. It's too hot. I want to eat them. I want to enjoy them. Now I'm starting to think in the back of my mind for my winter crops. Does that answer your question? Okay. Any more questions? Yes.
So, we have a lot of sun in our place, as do most people, but we also have a lot of really beautiful pots. The pots get really hot. So is there something that can be done, or should you do anything to the wall of the pots to protect them from heat?
Pot, container planting, number one, you're going to need a lot more water, okay, because they do dry out. Terracotta pots, like the clay pots, they're going to dry out faster than any of them.
A lot of the ones I have are glazed.
The glazed are better.
Okay.
The glaze will get hot, but the glaze will hold the moisture in. Answer to your question, there's not a lot you could do. If you're going to do container, you got little containers are going to need a lot more water. The bigger the container, the less. I grow tomatoes in containers at school, but I grow them in 35-gallon containers. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's the smallest container to use. If you're going to do container vegetables or container tomatoes, they need to be big. Tomato root systems are huge. They're really big. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So I'm going to tag on to what you were talking about earlier about raised beds and planting directly in the garden. The time that you would use a raised bed for sure is if your soil is terrible.
Right.
So if your soil's hard, you don't want to fight your soil.
You don't want to fight your soil. Also, your soils. You had a good thing. If you a really good time for using raised beds. If you got a horrible soil and you live in Granada Hills, sorry. Yeah, because you don't want to fight your soil. What happens when you have a really horrible soil and you prep it really good? 6 months, it's back to normal. Whatever normal is, okay? You have got to prep a soil all the time. Whereas your raised beds, you can adjust your soil and you can control it a little bit better. So, absolutely.
And if you have a concrete backyard where you don't have any soil, any place to garden,
Concrete backyard, but you've got to make sure you got at least 2 feet.
for drainage.
Okay, and then you also, what I would do, if you're going to do concrete, you want to put some wheat cloth and you want to put some wood chips all around, at least 3 feet around each bed. Otherwise, it'll burn up. You're going to just get so much
heat
heat.
is going to
Right.
the heat, right.
Any other questions? Yes.
So there's a section I have kind of like clay soil. So how do I kind of get good drainage out of that? What do
Out of clay soil, you got to prep it. Dig
back
deep.
to what you're saying.
Back to compost. A clay soil, I really like to use redwood compost and even add some calcium sulfate or gypsum to it too to help it break it up. But you want a chunky more to break up those smaller particles. Okay. Do not add sand to a clay soil. What happens if you add sand to a clay soil? Cement, right. May as well make adobe brick houses, right? So don't do that. People think, oh my God, I got a clay soil, I'm going to add sand, it's going to fix it. No. It'll just make it compact and you'll make cement. So really what you want for a really hard clay soil is redwood compost, more of a wood-based planter mix, something that breaks it up, and calcium sulfate gypsum, which also will help lower the pH. We're not going to get into pH, but look it up. It's an important thing. And that helps break it up. Deep, deep, deep. Dig deep. Yeah, drainage, #1 priority when gardening. I don't care what it is, you better have good drainage, okay? It's better to water more than only water a little and it sticks up there. If you got a clay soil, you got really bad drainage. So you want to really break up that soil and dig deep, backfill.
So when you say deep, what are we talking? 1 foot, 2 feet?
10 feet.
Wow.
No.
That's more
You
than
know what? You got to do what you can do.
Okay.
We're limited, okay? We don't have a tractor. We don't have all, you know. You got to do what you can do. You know what I always say is wing it. Do the best you can. Wing it. If it works, great. And if it doesn't work, next time it's going to work differently because you know better. Right? Don't make the same mistake twice. Yes. Huh? Okay, here's the opposite side of the spectrum. We talked about clay soils. She's got a sandy soil, okay? Most of your planter mixes are really good, but if it's extreme sand, I'd recommend using peat moss. Okay, peat moss and sand are your best mixture. Okay?
I was just going to ask, I have some ficus, small ficus trees that are in my soil. I live in North Hollywood, and they're just not growing. What do I do with the soil?
North Hollywood's very sandy soil.
Yeah.
Okay?
Like
Fertilize. If your ficus aren't growing, it's lack of nutrients. And in a sandy soil, you're not going to have a lot of nutrients. A clayer soil will hold the nutrients in, whereas sandy, everything leaches out. So if you're having an issue with ficuses in North Hollywood in a sandy soil, the only thing it could be is you just need a little bit more nutrients.
Should I mulch it, or will that help it? Or?
It'll help keep the water in, but you need to go get more of a fertilizer. You know where Sago's nursery is?
Yeah.
Go there.
Okay.
Go over and see Dean.
Okay.
I always like to tell people to go to more of the mom and pops, the old, because they have the knowledge. Okay?
Where is that? Burbank and Whitsey?
Burbank and Laurel Canyon. Yeah. You live out there too?
I used to.
Oh.
They've probably been there for 30 years.
No, more.
More, right?
Way more than that.
That's why the name was familiar.
I come from Green Arrow Nursery, which you're talking
Northridge.
70 years. Sepulveda, which there is no
Early
more
70s
Sepulveda.
Northridge.
What?
That was the early 70s Northridge. Green Arrow.
Sepulveda.
It was.
Sepulveda and Parthenia. It's finally still a big old parking lot now. But there still is a Green Thumb if you're in Woodland. Who's here from Woodland Hills?
That's over here.
Oh, good. Go to Green Thumb.
Yeah, we go there.
Go there. Go there and see Diane, the manager. I'm going to be...
At the nurse, there's two. There's one on Topanga, which is like the whole.
Topanga's Wholesale, and the one on Sherman Way. By the way, if you are in Woodland Hills, Thursday night at 6 o'clock at Green Thumb is going to be ladies' night. And they give you, I think it's 10 to 20% off everything. There'll be little wine and hoity-toities, and I'll have
to be a lady?
No. I'm going to be there. Well, I'm there for the ladies, so no. I will be there. I'll be talking about nursery products. Thursday night, and Woodland. It's pretty cool. I go every year. I speak there twice a year too,
Cool.
just because I like the people. But that's a really great nursery. Good products, good knowledge. Always be careful when you're going to some of these stores that just sell product, and you're walking in and you're asking questions. Take it with a grain of salt because you never know. Okay, try to go to your more reputable nurseries. Yes. What? This coming Thursday, ladies' night, Green Thumb. Yes.
So I'm kind of a hill in the backyard. I don't know what to do with it. Is there anything you can plant on a hill to start a garden without terracing it out or anything like that?
Avocados. That's what we're going to talk about. He's got a hillside. Rule number 1 with avocado trees, you need good drainage. Plant them on a hillside. Plant them on a mound. Do not plant them on flat ground. It will not do good. Okay, do you ever go out to Fillmore or Fallbrook? Where are all the avocados planted? On the hillsides. So, fruit trees, ground cover, herbs. How steep is it?
Pretty steep.
Where do you live? Mount Washington? You don't really have to terrace if you do the right thing. Next time, if you want to take some pictures. If you guys have typical gardening questions, I can't promise to come out and visit all of you. I do it. I don't mind if I'm in the area. But bring pictures and try to write down your questions, and I can personally help each one of you if we want. Do we have any more questions as far as what the plant will look like? You can get a plant that looks like it's drying out and dying, and that is too much water. Now with pots are kind of neat because one thing you could do, like they got moisture meters, okay, so over there. So using a moisture meter is good. what I gotta be careful with this in one aspect because you're only going down, what is this, 10 inches, 8 inches? Okay, so what I've tried to do using this, and we did a little video on it, I'll dig down a little bit and try to get down to the bottom of the pot, see if it's wet. Also, what?
What does it read out? What kind of?
Either moisture. Did you get one?
No.
I'll take one.
Okay, great.
Everybody
So,
can get a moisture.
Where do I want to be? I want to be right in the middle.
Moist.
Yeah.
If it's moist, you know what? If it's dry water, so it's very. But don't expect on a big pot to go down that far. And if it's dry, it might be water down there. Be very careful because you're going to just ruin the whole thing. You got to dig down a little bit unless the pot's small. The other thing, if you can, soak the pot really good and try to pick it up and see the weight, which if it's a big pot, it's kind of hard to do. But if you were to take, almost tell, this is a dry one, but you could tell the weight. I can go in and I can literally blindfold and pick up a smaller pot and see if it needs water or not. Okay, so weight has a lot to do with it too. Another thing with pots that I want to recommend, when you do water twice. Okay, so you water once and drainage. Make sure the water gets all out of the pot and then water again. Your second water is going to be more beneficial than the first. That first one's going to go trickling all over the little air holes and stuff, but the second water will kind of soak it better. So water twice, good drainage. If you have a saucer underneath your pots, take that saucer off. You do not want standing water. Okay, drainage, drainage, drainage. I can't tell you enough for everything you do. And as we start talking about our citrus and avocados, we're going to find that that's one of the most important things. Does that answer?
Yes, sir.
Or too much information?
No, it's great.
Right. Sometimes I go on tangents and I give you guys too much information.
Does the frog add any benefit?
Yeah, the frog. There's also a ladybug one that my daughters like. So, yeah, frog.
This one's green. This seems to work.
Are we going to do another video on moisture meters? I think she's going to post most of this too. So we don't want to get too technical. So I got Brad over here, and he's going to ask really, really heavy-duty technical questions. You might end up getting up here and helping me with it, but yeah, he's really good. Brad has been a friend of mine for too long, huh? Yeah, he's a good, very, very sharp. He's worked with Normans and Treeland. Where else? Armstrong.
Worked for a landscape contractor.
He's been around the block.
Where's Treeland?
Treeland is
Valley Circle?
Yeah.
So is that going to stay there?
No.
I heard it's
No,
out of
they're
there.
moving out.
When are they moving?
Well, they're already out in Moore Park area right now in Fillmore.
When's their official shutdown?
Probably within a year.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
what I've been told.
That property's just way too valuable. It's
Yeah.
Hidden Hills. Okay. You is why are citrus and avocado both categorized in the same thing? You ever notice that? You're getting citrus and avocado food, citrus and avocado mix. Why aren't plum trees categorized with this? Does anybody know the answer to that? Why your stone fruits? Well, stone fruits are a deciduous tree. They require a little bit different care, more pruning, different type of fertilizing, different type of even watering, because you don't water them for 4 or 5 months out of the year on your stone fruits. We do have a stone fruit class. It'll be in January, so look on there. We'll be talking about bare roots and stone fruits and things. But citrus and avocado, very, very similar. There's similar watering patterns, similar fertilizing, similar pruning. Site selection. So if you notice on the first thing on there, it's site selection. What does that mean?
Where you want to plant it.
Where you want to plant it. Do we want to plant it on the southeast side of your house? No. We want the hot, we want sun. More sun, the better your fruit trees are going to grow. So you put it in shade, yes, you'll get a nice fruit tree, but you're not going to get a lot of fruit off of that. So site selection, you want to kind of get towards the west, the north, and more of an all-day full sun on your fruit trees. Okay, that's all fruit trees, especially right now we're just talking about the citrus and avocado. Okay, varieties. So we're going to talk a little bit about citrus first. Ooh, what's your favorite citrus? Lemon.
Tangerine.
Tangerines.
Orange.
Oranges, okay. Those three are pretty good to start with. Lemon. There's basically 2 kinds of lemon we want to talk about. A Eureka and a Meyer lemon. Okay, Eureka, out of all the citrus, probably grows the biggest. You're talking about anywhere from 18 to 20 feet. Okay, some people say 15. I have a 20-foot Eureka. Probably the most prolific, put out the most lemons. This is what you're drinking here too. That is Eureka lemonade. Okay, so it's a bigger lemon, it's a bigger tree, you're gonna get more fruit. It is the standard original lemon. Your Meyer lemon is a grafted version where they've taken the lemon and they've added a little bit of orange to it. Okay, you're gonna get a smaller tree and just a little less tart, a little less sour out of a Meyer. Meyer would be more for a smaller location, more, you could probably put it in a pot if you'd like. I really don't like putting fruit trees in pots, but sometimes you have to do it because you don't have any other way of doing it, okay? So between the two, you got a Meyer, you got a Eureka. You want to deviate a little bit more and go out on tangents with this, we can go on and on about the different ones there, but we don't want to do that. You want to look up different varieties and things? Yes, we could do that. But lemons, Eureka, big, Meyer, smaller, Eureka, more of a tart, more sour. Meyer has a touch of orange in it. That's about it. Tangerines, Tangelos, you got seedless, you got with seeds. There's hundreds and hundreds of different ones. They're also a smaller tree. They're not going to get really huge, okay? So you're going to go 8 to 12 feet on a Tangelo or a tangerine. My favorite are the seedless. Does anybody go up to Fillmore? Or you go up there? Ever see the tarping? They put that white tarp all over the citrus trees. Do you ever wonder what that is? Does anybody know? Do you know?
No, they're camping.
Okay, it's really cool. They're keeping the bees off it. They've been keeping the bees because the trees that they're tarping are seedless tangerines. Okay? And if the bees pollinate from others, a seeding tangerine, then all of a sudden that seedless tangerine becomes seeds. So the tarps are to keep the bees off during pollination. Something I just learned. Scott Clittage told me that from Otto and Sons.
Well, they developed, actually, I forget the line of it, maybe it's Dixie tangerines, but up in Central California, they've actually just developed a seedless tangerine, and there's not a crop of cross-pollination.
There's not a crop, well, okay.
No, and they will always be seedless.
Yeah, that's a good, he's telling me that they got a, they developed one that you don't have to worry about that. But right now, the ones that I've seen, not only down in up in Fillmore, Moore Park, Santa Paula, but also down in Fallbrook, they put this white tarps. It's actually a netting to keep the bees off. Kind of interesting. Maybe when you're driving along, you can ask people what it is. I didn't know. I thought it was dust control. I thought it was freeze. Heat. I didn't know. So I asked. That's something I just learned. Oranges. Now again, we're going to talk two different kinds of oranges. Navel orange and what's this one called? Valencia. What's the difference? Seeds, no seeds, easier to peel, bigger. Your navels are a bigger orange. Personally, I like the Valencia. I think you get a better quality orange out of it. It's also much better for juicing. I almost can get a navel orange year-round.
So Valencia has no seeds?
No, the navel has no. What?
The navel has no seeds,
right.
Valencia does, and the Valencia has a higher juice content.
Yeah, you can see, look at this thing dripping. See if it's any good.
Yeah, we have this.
So Steve, I have a question for you. How do you control the sweetness of an orange? I've tasted oranges that were sweet and some that were sour.
Austin, where's my sidekick? Pass everybody out an orange. All right. What I found, he was talking about sweetness and getting a better quality orange or even all citrus. My opinion is a high nitrogen fertilizer and not a lot of water, okay? That has gotten, we started using calcium nitrate on some tangerines that were very sour. And after a year period, we were getting a lot better. I'm a big fan of a lot of nitrogen on citrus trees. In fact, I barely use anything more than them. The ones at school, you see how beautiful they are? Dark green, very little water, a high nitrogen fertilizer. And I like also a high nitrogen fertilizer on an avocado as it gets mature too. So your fertilizers are going to be the same with the citrus or an avocado. Less water, more fertilizer, and you want to only fertilize twice a year, spring and fall. That's all you need to do with your citrus and avocados. Yes.
We have a mature sour orange tree on our property, so maybe 15 feet, and it produces oranges like crazy, but it's really bare in terms of leaves and growth.
You're growing on a rootstock. Why do you want a sour orange? Do you like it?
It was there when we bought the property, and it's mature. So
all right, this is a good question. This is really we could get in more a little scientific with this, but most of your citrus and your avocados have been grafted. Okay, in your case, you start with a sour orange rootstock, and they graft on a navel, a Valencia, a blood orange. It goes on and on with all the different varieties, and that will give you the proper orange on there. What's happened is that rootstock's died, and the sucker growth has grown up and dominated the tree. Now you got a sour orange. Why? Get rid of it. If it's not giving you, why? Who wants a sour orange? I don't, right? But you're growing off a rootstock.
Well, they say it's good for human food.
Oh yeah, good point.
Okay, there's a purpose. Hey, if you have a sour orange tree and you like it, good for you.
If anybody wants sour oranges,
there you go. See it. We're gonna do a sour orange fruit thing. Me personally, if I have a fruit tree and in 3 years I don't get any fruit on that tree, it's coming out. I don't need it. I want a fruit tree to produce fruit. That's all. I don't think fruit trees are the most prettiest trees in the world anyhow. You know? Avocado, if you look at this, this is a Hass avocado, which everybody's going to get one. This has been grafted. So you can see you got your avocado pit, right? Okay, and then you got your graft on there. So this is taken I'm not sure what kind of rootstock, but they've grafted on top of this a Hass rootstock, or Hass. What do we say?
Hass.
I like Hass, but people correct me in the fruit world that it's Hass, but we're going to stick with Hass. Anyhow, this is a Hass, the most common avocado there is. And we'll get back to avocados in a second because all of a sudden I'm going on a tangent. We're still on oranges, right? Okay, 2 oranges. Valencia, you like that orange?
Yeah, good.
Okay, they came from Fillmore. Oranges are really good right now. I think they're like a whole box you can get for 15 bucks. So fruit is not that expensive in Southern California if you know how to shop it. How many people live in this area? You can go down to the fruit market or the produce market, get your good deals on fruit, but just be careful they don't give you the rotten stuff. Yes?
The difference between a California orange and a Florida orange.
Logistics.
I mean, well, Florida gets a lot of rain.
Right.
California doesn't. Wouldn't it affect the fruit?
The taste?
The taste.
I've had Florida oranges. I've had California oranges. I can't taste any difference. I mean, if you were really to sit down there and dissect it, probably. Personally, I try to have everything Californian.
Yeah.
You know, I want to buy Californian. I want to eat Californian. Now we can't do that in the middle of winter time with grapes, can we? Where do we get grapes in the winter?
My backyard.
Chile.
Oh, really?
The only reason I like Chile is because my wife's from Chile, so I got to be nice to her. Actually, when I was down there, the strawberries were awesome. I mean, and we have some of the greatest strawberries in the world.
What time of year did you go?
I was there in winter time. Our winter time, their summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you also understand that in Chile, you got this long country and it's bordered by the ocean and what else?
Mountains.
The Andes, right? And the Andes are all volcanoes. So you're getting all that volcanic soil that over hundreds and hundreds of years has been going into there. So they have a very, very rich soil. They also have a longer growing period. So between the soils and the longer growing period, you got pretty interesting production of produce there. All right, going on with citrus. Planting citrus, be very careful about planting stuff right now, okay? It's just hot. It's hard on a tree. It's hard on any tree. I prefer planting either the spring or the fall. Fall is a really good time because you'll have all winter long to get a good root system. Number one thing you got to remember with planting both citrus and avocado is you need to dig a big, big hole, okay? You've got to get down and get the drainage. Remember, I'm going to say that again. Drainage, drainage, drainage. You don't have good drainage, you're in big trouble. So a good hole, drainage. You don't have to use a lot of soil prep, okay? This is an argument I had. I was in City Hall on Thursday at a tree meeting, and this is an argument that we had with people there with planting your trees, street trees in particular. If you tend to get a lot of really, really rich soil in a hole and you plant that, what's going to happen when those roots start to go into the native soil? Do you think they're going to be happy? No, they're going to want to come back and stick in that hole, and you're going to get just a big clump of roots. So be very careful about adding too much soil prep into your trees. A lot of people say for growing trees you shouldn't have any type of soil prep. I like a little bit, but my big thing is to go down as deep as possible and try to break that hard pan and get good drainage. So think about that. If you are going to use some soil prep, don't use a lot of it. But remember, you want those trees to grow out. You want those roots to go into the native soil. And you can't prep 10 by 10 areas, right? So you got this little spot, you put too much soil prep, you're going to have a problem. Drainage, main thing. Is everybody freaked out on our little guy? No. He'll get stuck in your hair. My wife would be freaking out, man. They'd be gone by now over that. They won't hurt you. They're a nuisance. That's it. Okay, where was I? Fertilizer twice a year. Water. Let's talk a little bit about watering. Both your avocados and your citrus, in the beginning, they do like a little bit more water. As you're tapering off, you can water to almost nothing. Okay? Remember, avocados and citrus will get root rot, especially avocados. That's why I tell you guys, put them on a hillside or put them on a mound. And now, most people could look at this, and if I didn't know better, I'm going to say we got salt burn here. But I know better because it's heat. These things were drop dead gorgeous a week ago. So this is all heat. But a larger tree, for the most part, if you start getting browning on the tips of an avocado, it's salinity and salt burn. So you really need to deep soak. You need to leach out the salts. But it'll build up. So the salt burn is a depiction of too much moisture. You get too much salt, and then this will get root rot. You'll get a Phytophthora root rot, very, very prone to avocados. And what else? Monterey pines. What is it? I think it's this is where I'm going to get scientific on him. Phytophthora cinnamomum.
Are you talking about sod, sudden oak death?
No, Phytophthora. Sudden oak death is a different one. But that one, this is just on this, on avocados, just the Phytophthora.
Yeah, they're very susceptible. And with the way to prevent that, obviously, is to make sure that they have good drainage, but also by adding gypsum to the soil.
Gypsum will build up the calcium. You can get help with that, but it'll also drop your pH. So that will help. But the main thing with avocados, if somebody comes to me and they go, Steve, I'm going to plant an avocado, and they're going to plant it in the flat ground or in their lawn area, I'm going to say, no, you're wasting your money. Plant it on a hill, make a mound, or plant it on, yes?
You already did that.
What?
Planted it on flat ground.
In your lawn?
Yeah. I'm just asking for a friend.
Let's see, how are we going to do this? By the way, I do like lawns. I do like pretty flowers. All right, I'm not someone that's going to dig out my lawn and plant a bunch of weeds in it. All right, I want to plant a few natives. I do want drought tolerant. But if you want a really good garden, that only took 2 hours, huh? Easy day for me. If you want a drought-tolerant garden and you want to save water, I'm going to go back to your question. Number one, you want to understand the characteristic of the plant. Know what it needs, know how it grows, know the climate. Number two, you want to know your soils. We've talked about clay soils. We've talked about sandy soils, correct? Okay. And then number three, understand sprinklers. You know, just any sprinkler head isn't. We're going to talk a little bit about deep soaking and drips in a minute too. But going back to what you want, if you have an avocado, how tall is it?
Not tall.
I would try to dig it out and move it.
Okay.
If you really want to. If not, try to get the lawn away from the thing, and also no sprinklers hitting it.
Okay.
Okay? I had a beautiful avocado tree, a friend of mine out in Arcadia. And a year and a half ago I went out there and it was dying. So I turned on the sprinklers and all the sprinklers were hitting the tree. All I did was turn the sprinklers so they never hit the tree. Within 6 months, that avocado's perfect. So it shows you. Doesn't like the water, especially hitting the tree. A fruit tree does not belong in a lawn area. Yes?
Real quick, go back to fertilizer. Do you put the fertilizer on the surface? Or do you...
For what?
If you're fertilizing, let's say, avocado trees
Okay,
or citrus?
an existing tree or a baby?
Existing.
Okay.
mature, big.
An existing tree, and this is also going to be as far as watering, so pay attention to what I'm saying. I wish I had a... Okay, well, let's look at the sycamore. Do we want to plant, or do we want to fertilize? Do we want to water right here?
No.
No. You go out to the drip line. This is where the tree takes in everything. So as far as your fertilizer, you want to go around the drip line. As far as the watering, you want to go around on the drip line. That's why you use, if you're going to use a drip or a soaker, that's how you do it. If you're watering around the trunk of the tree, number one, it won't get the water that you need, but two, you're going to get water damage on the trunk. But answer to your question, try to find the drip line. Wherever those branches go straight down, that's where the plant's accepting the nutrients and the water.
But does it help to get the fertilizer down into the soil?
It does, but you also got to know the characteristic of the plant. So there's certain plants, if you start to drill down or cut, you might have some feeder roots on top that could hurt it. Okay? But what I would do really is try to get either a water-soluble fertilizer and just put it around the tree, around the drip line, and soak it in. I always like to use the rain, especially spring. So when rain comes, I'm a fertilizer maniac, and I go out and I fertilize everything. So utilizing the rain is really good. Rainwater. Is rainwater good for your plants?
Yes.
Absolutely. So if you're going to save rainwater, mixing your fertilizers with the rainwater is really good too. Is that a good answer?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
For her, I recommend a compost tea as a fertilizer.
We did do that. Yeah.
Because it's liquid, it's water soluble, and you just pour it around, and it's easy. Whereas
Yeah.
if you have like horse manure or stuff like that, not only does it burn the topsoil, but it takes a while for the water to leach it down into the ground. So you want something like compost tea.
Got it. Okay, great.
All right, so we know how to fertilize now,
Yep.
and we've done some varieties of citrus. What's our time on this? Time flies and we're having fun, huh? Because I'm going to want Scott to talk too. I don't have to. You don't have to. Well, we're gonna. I don't know what you're going to talk about, but you're gonna flip something. How about citrus? Any more citrus questions? You guys pretty good on everything we talked about? Yes.
You were recommending this young lady to take her tree out. When's the best time to take a tree out or to plant a citrus tree? Because you can go down.
Spring or fall. She's actually got an avocado.
Okay.
Okay. So.
It's a friend. I'm just kidding.
Okay. It's okay. It's okay. I don't care. Spring or fall?
Spring, fall.
Yeah. I don't like to do anything in the heat. Now, I've heard people tell me best time to plant an avocado tree is 100-degree weather. I don't believe that. I'm sorry. That's just too hot and the singeing. As it's warmer, yes, things take off. Planting a lawn right now, it'll grow faster, but it'll be very hard on the roots, and also you're going to need a lot more water. Best time to plant 99% of anything is in the fall, because you're going to get all winter long to get a good root system to get down to take the hot temperatures. So you'll see a lot of signs, a lot of advertising that says fall is for planting. Everybody thinks, oh my God, it's spring, time to plant. Well, yeah, your tomatoes and all that. But general rule in Southern California, fall is a much, much better time to plant. You're going to use less water. You're going to have that plant, it's going to have all winter long to get acclimated and adjusted and get ready for the heat. Whereas you plant something in the springtime, what's going to happen? Those roots are still tiny. You're going to have a lot more water. It's going to be susceptible to the heat and other problems. You get a weak tree, a weak plant, guess what happens? Insects and diseases. Strong plants, strong trees, they don't tend to get as many insect and disease problems. We have another question over here?
I have one.
Oh.
Yeah, so I have an orange tree and I have ants crawling up and down.
Ants?
You were just mentioning.
Who can help me with that? Why would ants be crawling up a citrus? Do you think it's for the nice juicy lemon or its fruits?
Right.
Nope. Okay, ants are searching for an insect. Okay, mainly aphids, scale, whitefly. All these insects secrete a honeydew. Okay, it's their poop. So when you're getting an aphid on a tree, you get all that sticky stuff. Have you noticed that? Okay, the ant goes up there and actually it's milking the aphids. It's farming them. It's eating that sticky solution. And the ants will literally kill your beneficial insects. So if an ant sees a ladybird beetle larva, it'll decapitate them. If it sees a lacewing, it'll kill them. Okay? These are beneficial insects that attack the aphids. The ant is the aphid's best friend. Get rid of the ants. Your beneficial insects will help get rid of the aphids. But the ants are there for one reason. They're going after the insects that secrete honeydew. I'm going to say mostly aphids, but there's 3 or 4 other insects in that genus that does secrete the honeydew.
Any recommendations on how to get rid of those ants?
Well, there is a product called Tanglefoot. Actually, it's getting a little bit better. You put it around the trunk of the tree, and it's a sticky solution. The problem we've had in the past with the Tanglefoot, it tends to girdle the tree. So now they have a tree wrap that is really a piece of paper with the sticky solution, so it doesn't literally girdle the tree. The ants can't come up, they can't come down, they're gone. I would not try to control the aphids. Remember, if you're going to spray your citrus or your fruit trees, once you spray, you're going to spray all the time. You're going to kill all the beneficial insects, you're going to disrupt the biological balance, and you're going to have a problem. So you want the beneficial insects to be there, and with the ants there, you're not going to get it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and what do you think would be attacking an olive tree?
It's dying?
No, it has like little, like something's been munching on it all over the place.
It could be, yeah, it could be grasshoppers, it could be katydids, chewing, some type of chewing insect. It's not going to hurt an olive tree. There's so many other things that can kill. I had 35 olive trees on my property when I moved in. I'm down to 5. There's a disease called verticillium wilt, right? Not a lot you can do with it when they get old.
No.
So, I mean, years ago, they had a benlate formula that we use as a soil drench. That's not on the market anymore. And even that, all that was doing was prolonging the life. I'm just going to say verticillium is a part of old age. You know?
The only way to
And varieties. We're going to talk, the most popular variety of avocados is Hass or Haas, okay? That's what everybody's going to get. What? I was told Hass, but we're going to call it, I can't do it.
Yeah,
It's like, does anybody know what a clevia is? It's a flower that grows in shade. I was told by the biggest clevia grower in the world, it's clavia. I cannot get to say that. After 40 years, am I right? Can you say it?
I call it Clivia.
Clivia.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they call it clavia. I don't know. I'm not going to do that. I'm too old to start worrying about things like that. Anyhow, avocados. Some other varieties. You got bacon. You got Fuerte. You got Mexicali. You got Little Cotto. You got a lamb.
Pinkerton.
Pinkerton.
Which one is the big fat one with the thin skin, but they're really creamy? Yeah, like that.
That's a lamb. This one's a lamb.
Yeah,
That's
So, I mean, if somebody wants to start chopping, we could start having some avocados here. I got the lamb. I got Haas. This is a reed.
Yeah.
Okay. So I do have 3 varieties of avocados. If anybody would like to come up and chop some up for samples, please. I would ask my grandson, but every time he gets a hold of a knife, he cuts himself.
You have a plate?
We can find something. Yeah, let's do this. You want to do that?
I got a knife.
All right, we want to cut up some more oranges, and we got avocados. Did everybody get some of that lemonade? Yeah. Did you like it? Was it pretty
Very
good?
good.
Okay, good.
Very good.
Only thing bad about it is the sugar. So sorry. Next time, if you come to the next one, I'll bring a non-sugar. We call it a confused water. Yes.
So this particular avocado tree that you brought, how much room does it need?
They get big. It takes a while, but what do you think? 20 feet on average on an average avocado? Height. So you always got to remember the height and the width are probably going to be similar. Okay.
Yeah, so like
do not, and I'm going to emphasize this, prune an avocado or a citrus. You thin it. Open it up. Take the dead tissue out. Bring it down a little bit. if you're going to be if you're going to be cutting it down at all on the outside, just make sure you do it after it fruits, before it flowers. If you start thinning it out and when it's flowering, what's going to happen? You won't get any fruit. You lose your production, so be very careful about that. But I will emphasize that. Always open up the inside of the tree so it gets more sun, it gets more air, but never prune a citrus or an avocado, only thin it.
For cosmetic reasons, you prune it also. Safety reasons, like if the
Safety,
avocado was
cosmetic,
growing,
yeah.
growing into the house or whatever.
If it's doing that, you have to. I have to cut mine away from the room because the rats jump from the tree into the house.
So when you see I'm sorry.
One season. If you're cutting the flower off, what happens with the flower? Flower ends up being the fruit, right? So if you're cutting off all the flowers, you won't get any fruit for that season. And a citrus is going to take anywhere from 4 months to 12 months to produce, from flower to final. Anybody know what a pomelo is? That's like an oversized grapefruit. Do you like it? Because I like the squinting nose. I don't like them either. Why I would plant one of those? I'd rather have a grapefruit. So pomelo's the biggest. What's the smallest citrus? Kumquat, lime quad. Okay. Anybody ever had a finger lime? Finger limes are good. Have you had a finger lime? They're really neat. You open them up and they look like caviar. And you use it as a garnish. They're really good. Finger limes, you do not need a graft. You can take cuttings off a finger lime and plant them. Most all your other citrus need a graft. Grapefruit, we didn't talk much about grapefruit. For me, it's pink or yellow, right? There's your two varieties. I love pink grapefruit. That's my favorite. Back to avocados. We're going to have a little avocado tasting. Yes, sir.
Can you talk to us a little bit about the different, like the A and the B types of avocados and pollination, how that's so important?
No, I don't want to get into that, but he's going to talk. We can briefly tap on pollination. Your Hass avocado doesn't really need a pollinator, but it should. Okay, a pollinator will help you. You have an A and a B, you have a male and a female flower. The problem is the female flower comes first, the male comes second on the same tree. So they have a tough time self-pollinating with that. They'll do it, but it's better if your neighbor has one or somebody else, and then you'll get the pollination coming on there. But it's really, avocado is one of the most unique trees with that fact about the male and the female on the same tree.
Is it good to have two different varieties?
Yes.
Like
it's better to have a Hass and then get like a
birthday.
bacon, because the bacon will flower at a different time, or that male will open up the same time the female does it. So if you have a Hass avocado, you're better off having a bacon or a fuerte or a Pinkerton or there's about 6 or different ones. But if you look up, there's a really, really good article that I pulled a lot of my information off. University of Riverside. Anything University of Riverside Cooperative Extension puts out, I really like because they do a lot of the research there. They have a thing on citrus and avocados that I thought was fantastic. If you can't find it, email me, I'll send you the link. It's about 100 pages, but it's got all types of really super, super good information. And it's one of the first things I found where they stress that your citrus and avocado really only need a high nitrogen fertilizer. And a lot of people argue with me. A couple of the rare fruit growers even said, I go, I'm just going to put urea out on my citrus. Oh no, that'll just give it growth. Go look at my citrus. Dark green leaves and loaded with fruit. Your growers up in the San Joaquin, do you think they use a whole bunch of different kinds of fertilizer? I was up there on a grape orchard, they were just using sulfate of ammonia. It's cheap and it grows. Yes.
I was told that citrus, one easy, fast way is just to throw steer manure as a fertilizer.
Steer manure is so high in salinity that if you're not going to leach it out, it's the worst thing in the world for your soil. Yes. Yeah. And all that is a compost. Yeah. There's very little nutrient in steer manure. Okay, it's an amendment. And again, if you're using steer manure, especially a citrus or avocado, there's so much salinity in that, you're going to do more damage than good. Now, a lot of your amendments, your soil companies, they've gone from human sludge to steer manure. But if you see what they do with the steer manure, they'll take it and they lay it all on the ground and they water it for weeks and weeks and weeks. that leaches the soil out, the salt out, and they're able to use it again. But I wouldn't use stir manure. Yeah. To top dress a lawn or overseed a lawn to hold the moisture in, that's the only thing I'd ever use stir manure. Any other questions on fertilizing? Is that good? What'd you get, avocado?
Avocado.
It looks like a jalapeno pepper. Pass. Yes?
So when we moved onto this property, we had a couple of these avocado trees. And one area, all the topsoil was ripped off. This tree was really having a hard time. So we brought in compost, wood chips, we had it pruned, we had tea put on. Like, should I not have wood chips and things on top?
The wood chips are going to hold in the moisture, but what you don't want anything up against the trunk of the tree. Okay, always keep all the moisture away from the trunk. Anything there. It sounds to me like you overdosed it, like you went to the extreme. You've got to be careful of that, because if you put too much mulch, too much stuff, you're going to put too much water. You're going to have, that thing is going to stay saturated, and that's the worst thing you could do.
It's definitely on a hill.
Oh, that's great. It is?
Oh, yeah.
It's a definite
Everything's on a hill.
That's perfect. Well, that's number one for avocados, have it on a hill.
Okay.
I mean,
that is why we put the wood chips.
It's a really dense
Where do you live?
decomposed granite. East LA.
East LA.
Yeah.
I'm not
Like
real
El
familiar,
Camino.
but I'm gonna be. Now that I'm doing these workshops out here, I gotta get used to all the soils out here and study it a little bit more, so that'll give me something to do.
If you come over, we'll make
Our
you
soil is
Absolutely.
not too
You
different
got my
from what
card
you're
call.
standing on.
I love going to people's houses, but here, that's how you can bribe me. You wanna bribe me? Two things I really like: salsa and pie. Good pie. I sent my grandson to cooking school just to learn how to make me a pie. Right, Austin? It's true. But, oh, look at this. So anyhow, how are we doing? Everybody, I'm going to go briefly over what we're supposed to talk about, and I think those of you who have never heard me talk before, we tend to deviate a little bit. We tend to go on tangents and talk about other things, but I think the main thing here when you come to these workshops is answering all your garden questions. And I really, really, really hope that everybody here wants to come back next time and bring a friend. If we have the same amount of people, I need to know how many tomatoes to get. I've got to go up to Santa Paula. I have a special farm that grows hundreds of different kinds of tomatoes. So I'm going to get all different types. We're going to do tomato tasting. We're going to do harvesting. We're going to do canning, preserving. Do you know how to do that, Diana?
No.
No. We got to find somebody good on that. Okay, so we talked about planting, watering, training, pruning, and thinning, right? Thinning, don't prune your citrus. Sanitation, pests and disease, we did talk about ants. So as far as pests and disease go, all I'm going to tell you, get rid of the ants, let the natural insects do their thing. Freeze, be very careful about freeze. Anything under 30 degrees, you're going to have a problem with freeze on a lot of your citrus and avocados.
What can we do?
Smoke pots and fans.
Smoke pots and fans. All right. The day before a freeze that's coming, number one, water. Okay? Water that ground. That will warm up the soil temperature. Number two, if you wanted to put some type of a tarp on it, I'd recommend a sheet, shade cloth on top of it. Do not use plastic. It'll burn. And then cross your fingers. We haven't had a really good freeze in Woodland Hills for a while, but I remember one. Yeah, well, I remember one about 10 years ago. I planted a whole row of Ficus nitidus, and they literally froze all the way to the ground. So it can happen. But prior to it, a heavy watering, and if you really think it's going to get down below 30, put some sheets on top of it. That will help. And then if it does freeze and you get some burn, do not prune that burn off. Wait till the spring. That burn will help protect it from the next freeze, if we get one. Oranges, maples, limes. Who likes limes? Okay, again, I'm only going to categorize 2 limes. Bear's lime, which is your regular lime, and what's the other one?
Corona.
That's it. The Corona lime, he calls it. That's exactly what you do. The little one, you put it in your beer. One thing I miss about drinking was putting that little lime in my Corona. I'm one of those people that doesn't indulge. Grapefruits. Oh, real quick. I know we didn't talk about. Drip systems. How many people are into drip systems? They're a pain in the butt. Okay? They're a hassle. They break. They get clogged. But they're very good if you do it correctly. So there's two things to really know about drip. One, you need a pressure regulator. Okay? You cannot come off of 70 pounds to 125 and think your drip system's going to work. It'll blow up. Also, a pressure regulator is going to evenly disperse the water, so you'll get the same amount of water out of the first emitter as you do the last. Second is a filter system. If you don't have a good filter system, those little drippers are going to get clogged, and then forget it. You're going to be constantly changing them. All right? Since we're only talking, well, two things we could do with drips. Drips are really good for pots. Okay, so if you have pots, they're really good. If you don't have pots or in the ground, I'd recommend using something other than them. If you're going to be using a drip system on the citrus or the avocados, we talked about where to water, the drip line, put a drip system. They also have the Netafim pipe that have drippers every 12 inches, 18, 6 inches. You can put that pipe around there, and that'll give you deep soaking. Very, very uniform. They work excellent, but the maintenance on a drip system is incredible. How many? Yes.
No, I was just curious, how expensive is it?
Okay, do you need a drip system? Do you need a drip system?
I don't know. I haven't even started yet, so I was just, we have a big yard.
Okay, you promise to come back and see me again? Okay, I'm going to give you this drip system.
No.
Yeah. No. I've never had anybody say no to a gift. There's your starter kit. Now, here's your homework. You have 1 month to figure out how to use it and come back and share. Okay? See what I do? I pass it on to everybody else.
There's a question to kind of help along with that. Surface drip system that gets eaten by rodents, or buried drip system that you can't monitor.
Okay, I prefer taking a drip system. Yeah, did everybody hear what he said? I kind of like to repeat the question because maybe they didn't hear over here. He said surface system that gets eaten by rodents, or submerged system that you can't monitor. What I would do is put the drip system out, make sure it's working properly, and then cover it with a light mulch. That will help. But again, high maintenance. Good filter system. Regulator, checking it all the time. I really like that the Netafim pipe, the ones that have the emitters made into the pipe. That seems to work pretty good. Yeah.
That's the best one.
That's the best one?
Yeah.
Netafim?
Yeah, with the temperature rules.
Right.
Because it creates mock rain.
Right, and you'll get an even distribution, but do not just attach it to a hose without some type of regulator.
So that's something we run into because we are on a hillside. We have a very dense soil. Our drip systems, when it comes out, does not spread. It runs down the hill.
Right.
So it's difficult to get an even dispersion of water if you use drip on a hill. It runs away faster than
you're going to have to manipulate your hillside.
Yeah.
You're going to have to figure out a different type of drip, more holes. Yeah. Moving the pipes around, bringing the soil. I don't know.
Dig a little under the hillside.
Yeah,
so
dig a make a swale or a terrace type thing. But yeah, that's something I can't really help you with. That's kind of like hit and miss. Just play with it.
Yeah, it was just something I ran into.
I agree.
With sprinkler spray, you get a nice.
Okay, here's another
pattern.
thing. The worst thing in the world on a drip system is to have it only on one side of the plant. Then all that happens is that one side of the plant gets watered and the others don't. So if you're doing a drip system on a smaller plant, you're pretty cool about it. But if it's a big plant, you better have a couple drippers on each side of the plant. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now everybody knows everything there is. What's your name again?
Jessie.
Jesse Drip. That's how I remember. You got a Mr. List name now. Anything you want to know about drip, in 4 weeks she's going to come back and talk to us about it. This is what I do with my students. If I don't know something, I have them research it, figure it out, and they come back and teach me.
Yeah.
It's all about research. Is there any other questions? Did we hit everything? Scott, would you like to say a few things? Talk about your program a little bit?
Well, I don't know. I think you pretty much hit everything.
This one's possible.
This is, by the way, I'd like to introduce Scott. Scott works at Fremont High School, so he is South Silmar, we call him. He's trying to take over what I do up there, but he's got a lot newer system. He's got a $1.5 million greenhouse over there that is incredible. And we are trying to incorporate this program with his too. So hopefully when school year comes, we'll be bringing some of the students. And who knows, maybe Scott will be doing a couple of these workshops here and there. That would be really nice. But if you ever want to go by it, there's a wellness center. I think somebody was here. Does anybody know where that is at Fremont High School? There's a wellness center right on or next to the campus.
The Uma Clinic.
What's it called?
Uma
Clinic.
Clinic, yeah.
Clinic. And there's this beautiful greenhouse. Go check it out. It's pretty impressive.
Where's
but
Fremont School?
That way.
Avalon at 79th, like San Pedro and Manchester.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got a
You
pretty
said South
unique
Silmar.
program.
Yeah.
Oh, I say South
Very
Silmar
south.
because
Yeah.
well, Silmar South.
Very
He's my
south.
sister's
South
school.
of Silmar.
We are trying our hardest to duplicate what we do up there down here.
Good.
And the reason I say that is because we grow thousands and thousands and thousands of plants, and I'm not exaggerating, and we give them away all over the city. Number one, we take care of any educational program. Number two, we take care of low income. We plant a lot of gardens for the low income, trying to teach them how to not only eat healthy, but not have to buy their own produce. And you know how expensive organic fruit and vegetables are? And you can do it for almost nothing. We work with community gardens, and then any type of garden clubs and workshops. So everything I do up there, I give away. I don't sell anything. And you guys are all welcome to come visit me anytime you want. My cards are over there. We have the flyers coming up. And if you'd like, we don't have that many people. So I got pretty much a variety. I have, everybody can get a strawberry. This is a strawberry, this is Durban, kind of a newer variety. And then there's an avocado tree for you. And then I just thought, just for the heck of it, I brought a bunch of rosemary too. So if you plant the rosemary in front of your house, you won't get the ghosts and brujas, all right? It wards off the evil spirits. Last time I said that at an herb meeting, I got in trouble. I thought I was teasing, but I'm probably the biggest witch and bruja you've ever known. I like herbs, not that kind, regular herbs. I'm serious, I'm clean. Huh? How do you grow rosemary? How do you not grow rosemary? It's a weed. Stick it in and water it, it'll grow crazy. You know what's so nice about it though? And it's supposed to help with Alzheimer's and dementia, but it doesn't help me much. But it's so nice, and it's oils. Oh my God, you can make your oils with it. We do an essential oil. Take an almond oil or a canola oil or a coconut oil, dry out your rosemary, put it in the jar, let it sit for a month, and it's awesome. This is one of the easiest plants to do an essential oil with.
Does it have to have a root before you plant it, or you can just take off a piece and just...
The cutting's fine, but you look here, there's a root. It's ready to go. This will be a nice big plant. So, and if you want, you guys can also, if you want like certain kind of plants and things, send me an email. I got lots of stuff. Yes.
How much sun and how much water for the rosemary and strawberry?
Full sun, and at first you do want to remember, even if it's drought resistant, the first year you got to keep things wet. Okay? Don't expect a California native or a drought resistant garden, throw it in there, and tomorrow you don't need water. These poor little feet, they got to grow.
Like every day you'd water it?
Well, right now, yeah. You can overwater this and not have a problem whatsoever.
Okay.
But once it starts growing really good, it's very drought tolerant. Okay. Beautiful purplish flowers, and they do attract bees. So if you don't like bees, you just snip off the flower. But more than anything, it's a pretty plant, but it's so good for culinary use, oils, medicinal purposes.
Does it do well in a pot?
Yeah, it does great in a pot.
And it also keeps rats and mice away from your garden.
Yes, it does. Anything with an aroma, it helps.
Update 10.
What about the strawberries? Same question. Sun and water.
Full sun, lots of water. Also with strawberries, you want to make sure that they're in some type of a pot or they're on a little bit of a hill, because if they're flat, the strawberry tends to lay in the dirt and rots out.
And with lots of water, I'm writing notes.
That's fine. I know you're not. I believe you. And if you were, I don't care. I'm used to it.
So, do you want the soil to kind of stay a little bit moist?
A little bit moist. Don't let them dry out too much.
Okay.
I found that my strawberries, especially the first year, because the roots aren't down very deep, they tend to require a little more water. As they get older, they'll start having rhizomes and stolons. Rhizomes are underneath the ground, roots that go like this. Stolons are on top. And once that starts going and they start growing, they'll tend to be more drought tolerant.
So even if, I mean, Granada Hills, so it would be, because I planted some strawberries like 2 days before we got 115 heat. And so the strawberries that I had, like, you know, they got the brown on the end, but now I have new stuff growing.
Yeah.
Do I cut the brown ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anytime you get a dead piece of fruit or a dead flower or something that doesn't look good on a plant, that plant is going to put all its energy to try to help make that plant do better. Take it off. That'll encourage the growth. That's why I went through and I took all my tomatoes that were gushy from the heat. I took all those off. I had a very little, remember the blossom end rot we had on the San Maranzos? And I took all those off, and then I'm good to go.
Thank you.
Yes?
Will you take off like the old ones? Do you save the seeds or?
You can on your tomatoes. Okay. If you're doing some of your tomatoes, your old standbys like Big Beef, Early Girl, Better Boy, and these, if you're saving the seeds and you're thinking you're going to get the same tomato the next year, you're probably not. Now your heirloom tomatoes, the definition of an heirloom tomato is like a 7-year period where you're growing this special tomato, you're taking the seeds, you're redoing them, and then after 7 years you've got that special tomato. You can do that, but you know, it really isn't worth it. You can get tomatoes. If I'm still around next year, I'll give you all the tomato plants you want. How's that sound? Will I still be around next year? Yeah. I like coming out here. I had no idea it would be so good and we get this kind of crowd. It's a perfect location. Hopefully we can make this grow. If you guys know a friend, please tell them. Well, every time you come, I will have some type of a plant giveaway, but we'll always do something different. I've never done a lecture where it's the same. So I'm going to do this lecture again in 2 weeks. Will it be, where's my friend? Will it be the same? No, completely. The topic will be the same, but somebody will ask me some weird question like politics or something, and I'll go on, and no, we don't talk politics around here.
Perfect.
Talk rock and roll, yes.
Oh, how do you tell if you put too much water in it?
On what?
On any of these plants, like strawberry or tomato or something like that?
Well, if that soil is really damp, and you see that it's damp, you don't water.
Okay. Do you see that in the leaves? Did they change?
Well, I said earlier that dryness and too much water look exactly the same.
Oh.
So you can get the frog. Go get the frog.
Oh, okay.
Everybody get a frog, okay? Got any ladybugs?
Not this time.
Okay, next time you'll have ladybug. Well, I can't promise that. Also, make sure you get this really valuable information. DWP has partnered with Sanitation to come out here. You're getting free mulch, you're getting rebates, you're getting free plants. And you're getting free knowledge. I think that alone is well worth the trip. I don't think you can go to another workshop or lecture of this caliber anywhere in Southern California for free. People pay high-end dollars to come to this. I'm not bragging about me, I'm bragging about the whole program that they've developed. And I will also be bringing in guest speakers.
Went to Lowe's and they have a little small container of ladybug.
Uh-huh.
What essential?
That's a waste of money. You know what? They're really cool. You got kids?
No.
Got little ones?
No.
See, I got grandkids. And I take them over to school and we open up the ladybugs and they have a blast. Tomorrow I can't find a ladybug. If you decide you want to do the ladybugs and you're adamant on bringing them incorporate them into the garden, let them go late in the afternoon, early evening. They'll tend to stick around. If they find a food source, they'll stay. If you don't have any aphids or anything for them to eat, why would you want to stay? Right? So it's a novelty.
Okay.
I hate to say that, but
there's a little trick, Steve. The ladybugs, you can take a little sugar water, spray it on, and it kind of keeps their. It immobilizes them for a few more days.
I didn't know that. Did you hear that? A little sugar water on the ladybugs late in the afternoon keeps them going. Also, if you do that and you find a tree that's loaded with aphids, maybe that'll make them stay too. This seems like a big, they're fun. I remember I poured a whole can in my granddaughter's hair. Oh my God, did I get in trouble? That's normal, yes.
How did you make the tea?
Oh, it's not really tea. One avocado, one strawberry, and one rosemary. Take as many of the oranges as you want. Yes, they're all Haas. Haas. Thank you, I like you. Haas. And maybe I'll see some of you folks at the Ladies' Day at Green Thumb. Take your calendar.
Can you look at my photos of my tree?
Sure, let's go where.
For a friend.
Yeah, right. Can you put this? What, you wanted an avocado tree?
Yeah.
That's all. That's fine. So try to only take one. If there's any left over of the strawberries and rosemary, you could take more. But I need the avocados. Those cost me $5 each, so you could see.